I've always been an early riser. Not because I want to be, but because my body just seems to have its own internal alarm. It's been that way since I was a kid. These days, I use it to my advantage. I throw on my gear and head out for a run while the sky is still that soft indigo, right before the sun starts bleeding over the horizon. My usual route snakes through a suburban greenbelt, over a small footbridge, and under a freeway tunnel about a quarter-mile from my house. The tunnel's about 40 feet long, covered in rust-colored graffiti, and it always smells like damp cement and mildew. Normally, I just jog right through without a thought, but one morning in late March, I slowed down. I didn't mean to, my body just hesitated. The air was colder than usual, not the normal spring chill, but dense, almost metallic. My earbuds started crackling with static just as I approached the tunnel, and for some reason I pulled them out. That's when I heard it, faint breathing echoing out from the shadows, not mine, too slow, too strained. As I stepped inside, the weak yellow light from the tunnel lamps barely lit the center. That's when I saw him, crouched dead in the middle of the tunnel, barefoot and shirtless. His body was emaciated and twisted, spine curved like a scorpion tail. The skin on his back looked raw, as if it had been scraped over asphalt. I froze. His head snapped up. His eyes were all wrong, milky but not blind, like they could see everything all at once. And then he smiled, wide and unnatural. His teeth were black. Not stained, black. Like charcoal or old iron. "Come jog with me," he said, but his lips never moved. I swear on everything, his mouth stayed still, yet I heard those words right inside my head. It was like someone whispering just behind my eyeballs. I backed up, ready to bolt, but the tunnel seemed longer than before. I turned to run, and that's when I heard bare feet slapping the wet ground behind me, fast, unrelenting. I sprinted harder than I ever had in my life, not daring to look back. The moment I crossed out of the tunnel into open light, everything went silent. I stood there gasping, trembling, and drenched in sweat. When I finally looked back, the tunnel was empty. I ran straight home and slammed the door. When I took my shoes off, that's when I noticed it. The soles were caked in thick, black sludge, not the kind from the trail. This stuff smelled like something dead had been left in a sewer. Even worse, there were long, bruise-like fingerprints wrapping around my calves, like something or someone had gripped me as I ran. I threw the shoes away. I haven't run that trail since, but sometimes when I leave for work in the morning, there are wet footprints on my porch, bare feet, leading away from my front door. Did that sound make you pause the video? Go on, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one that gets under your skin. I've always had trouble sleeping. Insomnia runs in my family, and college only made it worse. Deadlines, caffeine, and the general chaos of dorm life kept my nerves buzzing. So I started jogging at night. It helped. The campus after dark was peaceful in a strange way. Buildings glowing like abandoned lanterns, the walkways deserted, the trees still. My favorite path circled the campus lake, which was always lit by flickering street lamps and surrounded by a cracked asphalt trail. After a while, I got used to being the only one out there. One night around 12:30 a.m., I headed out for my usual run. It was colder than usual, and the lake surface was smooth like glass. As I rounded the first bend, I noticed someone ahead of me, far across the other side of the lake, jogging in the opposite direction. They were a silhouette under the orange light, moving steadily. I thought it was odd, but not alarming. College students keep weird hours. We passed each other halfway, just a blur of motion. But then, as I rounded the curve again, I saw them once more, and they were closer, a little too close. This continued for another lap. Each time I passed them, they seemed more in sync with me, like a mirrored version of my stride. Same pace, same posture, same rhythm. I stopped near the water fountain to tie my shoe and catch my breath. They stopped too. I laughed nervously, trying to shake the unease. But then I tested something. I walked backward a few steps. The figure on the opposite side mimicked me instantly, no lag. My stomach dropped. And then I did something I still regret. I called out, "Hey, you good?" No response. But then they moved, not toward me, toward my reflection. They stepped forward, and their reflection in the lake didn't follow. It led. It was already ahead of them. Their feet hit the pavement a second after the reflection did. Like the image was real, and the body was just catching up. I backed away from the water, heart hammering. And when I looked back up, both the figure and the reflection were gone. I ran all the way back to my dorm without stopping. The next morning, I asked campus security if anyone else had been on the path. They reviewed the footage. They said I was jogging alone. No other figure ever appeared, not once, not even in shadows, and yet to this day, when I jog at night, no matter the location, I feel it, the rhythm, the timing, the perfect symmetry of another person's footsteps, just behind me, and sometimes they get ahead. In my hometown, there's a stretch of trail everyone calls Dead Man's Mile. It runs along the back edge of the cemetery and leads through an old nature preserve. The story goes that a man collapsed there while jogging in the 80s, a heart attack. But by the time they found him, the animals had gotten to him. Crows, coyotes, whatever was hungry. Now kids spray paint skulls along the mile, dare each other to jog it at night, and make jokes about feeding the forest. I didn't believe in any of that. I run that trail all the time during the day. Never saw anything weird. So one evening, after working late, I decided to go for a quick jog. The sun had dipped low, turning the sky purple and gold. I started my run like normal, but once I hit that infamous stretch, everything got quiet, too quiet. No birds, no rustling, no wind. Just the sound of my breathing and my shoes on dirt. Halfway through the mile, my phone buzzed, then shut off. Screen dead. I tried to restart it, but nothing. I thought maybe it overheated or the battery died, even though it was full when I left. That's when the whispering started. It wasn't clear, just broken murmurs, like people talking far away, only they were right in my ears. I ripped my earbuds out. The voices were still there. Then the air changed. It felt thicker, like walking through fog I couldn't see. My feet suddenly felt heavier. My arms wouldn't swing freely. I pushed forward, but it was like the trail was holding me in place. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. At first, I thought it was an echo, but no, they were off rhythm, slower, dragging. And then came the breathing, loud, labored, wet, like lungs filled with fluid. I broke into a sprint. My body was screaming, but the fear overrode everything else. As I ran, I swear I could feel fingers skimming the back of my shirt. Light at first, then clawing. When I finally burst through the end of the trail and into the parking lot, everything went silent again. The air cleared. The weight lifted. I dropped to my knees and tried to catch my breath. At home, I pulled off my shirt and saw it. A single, blackened handprint across the back, smudged like it had been burned in. My skin was hot to the touch. I've never gone back to that trail. But here's the part I've never told anyone. Sometimes, when I'm alone in my garage, sitting on my treadmill, I see muddy footprints forming on the belt, and they never face the direction I'm running. They're always walking toward me. The darkness doesn't stop here. It just changes shape. Keep watching. The next story is already watching you.